House Speaker Kevin McCarthy can't seem to catch a break.
15 rounds of voting before McCarthy was able to take control of the gavel.
Political battle over raising the debt ceiling.
Chaos in Congress as the government lurches towards a possible shutdown.
McCarthy has a razor-thin majority in the GOP-led House and is facing a looming partial government shutdown that could cost him the gavel.
Many Republicans think he's doing the best that anyone could do, but you have a number of very hardline Republicans who either want him out or want him to do exactly what they say, and it's going to be really hard to satisfy both of those wings with such a small majority.
Here's a look at the power struggle amongst House Republicans that is affecting McCarthy's control over his own party, and how that could lead to a government shutdown. House lawmakers are scrambling to pass a short-term spending bill by September 30th, the end of the fiscal year, to avoid a partial government shutdown. The only problem? The majority of House Republicans can't seem to agree on what goes in that bill. A faction of Republicans is threatening not to pass legislation if McCarthy doesn't include their demands in any funding deal.
It's a group of Republicans who are willing to basically undercut the party's legislation to make a point and to try to hold out for a better deal.
This group of lawmakers all agree on the need to do one thing: cut government spending. But some in the group are also making other disparate demands, like ending aid to Ukraine and tightening border security. Some are also threatening to oust McCarthy if he doesn't meet their demands.
Members of the Freedom Caucus are very, hardline members who want to sharply cut government spending. But then there's other folks like Matt Gaetz, who's not a member of the Freedom Caucus, but is a very, very outspoken critic of McCarthy. He's got a whole list of demands and things he wants McCarthy to do, but at the end of the day, he really just doesn't want McCarthy as Speaker.
The path forward for the House of Representatives is to either bring you into immediate, total compliance or remove you pursuant to a motion to vacate the chair.
This isn't the first time McCarthy has gone head-to-head with Gaetz and other hardline House Republicans.
A speaker has not been elected.
A speaker has not been elected. A speaker has not been elected.
Back in January, McCarthy struggled to obtain the majority of votes needed to become Speaker, enduring 15 rounds of voting before he won the seat. Gaetz and several other Republicans led that opposition, and to win them over, McCarthy made several concessions, like promising deep spending cuts.
The problem is that every time he gets one thing done, he makes promises to some members about doing future things to help them out or to win them over. And at some point, all those promises start to come due.
McCarthy's plight isn't unfamiliar territory.
John Boehner.
Speaker John Boehner resigned in 2015 after being squeezed by clashing factions within his own party over spending cuts needed to avoid a government shutdown.
Republican House speakers have a long history of having a lot of dissidents who nip at their heels for years and years and try to push them on issues, including deficits, debts, and spending. What is new is that his majority is so small that he cannot just ignore people. He has to actually deal with them in order to get legislation passed. Past speakers could probably ignore 10 or 15 or 20 members and still get bills over the finish line. McCarthy cannot.
To pass the short-term spending bill, McCarthy can't afford to lose more than 4 votes without help from Democrats.
Let's make sure the government stays open while we finish doing our job, passing all the individual bills and getting this done.
McCarthy, is a very personable leader. He likes having relationships. He's not so much a policy guy. So it really is a matter of managing his caucus, getting a bill they can pass.
The Republican-controlled House and the Democrat-controlled Senate will also have to negotiate a full-year spending agreement.
I'm not a fan of government shutdowns. I've seen a few of them over the years. They never have produced a policy change, and they've always been a loser for Republicans.
Shutdown or not, the slim majority and political infighting in the House aren't going to go away for McCarthy.
There's still the looming question of, if not McCarthy, then who? His number 2, Steve Scalise, is undergoing cancer treatments. There's other Republicans who could theoretically lead the caucus, but it's not clear that any of them would be in a better position to do it. For McCarthy, it's just another example of where he's in this crazy situation and looking for a Houdini-like trick to wiggle his way out. And it's just not clear how he's going to do that.